marijuana argument, not to denigrate it, but there it is. And J.T. Halsey says, it is my opinion that it is not only time to legalize marijuana, but to grant redress to the people that the government of Canada and the judicial system has harmed over the years with their high-handed disregard for any kind of real justice. While thieves and other criminals walk the streets with impunity from being informers for the RCMP, people with higher moral standards have suffered loss of homes and their very futures from marijuana charges. There you go.
You know, I've got one, Gian, that goes into what we're going to talk about next. And this is from Heather Donaldson, who writes, I'm a long-time smoker, or sorry, it's from Aaron McDonald, who writes, I'm a long-time smoker, as is my wife, as was my father. Pot brought me closer to my father before he died. Joining us on the line live is Beth Kaplan with her adult daughter, Anna Doby. And like many baby boomers, Beth smoked a lot of pot in the 1960s. Well, now she, like this emailer, has indulged with Anna and her friends. Beth, welcome to you.
Hi, Johanna.
Tell me about your experiences. I know you wrote an article in the Globe and Mail. Give me the version, the shortened version of your thoughts as you smoked that joint with your daughter.
Well, it was... the kids had asked me when they were 17, 18, I knew they were smoking. We have a long backyard, and I knew they would go back to the very end of the yard, and I knew that there were pungent smells coming my way, because I recognized them from my own youth. I had smoked, of course, you know, I grew up in the 60s, and I'd smoked a lot of dope, this wonderful drug that we all discovered in the 60s, and, you know, suddenly I could hear the music, and I could taste the chocolate bars. But then I found that I was getting really paranoid. This kind of paranoia would come over me, and suddenly I was very self-conscious, and I started to feel sick, and it was a very negative experience for me. So I had stopped smoking myself when I was about 23 or 24.
And then 30 years later?
So 30 years later, my daughter was then, so when they would ask me when they were 17 or 18, occasionally they said, would you like to smoke with us? And I said, absolutely not. It's illegal. I don't want it in my house. But then when Anna was 23 and she asked if I wanted to smoke with her, I said, yes, I really wanted to see what it would be like now for me and also to do it with her.
So did you bond?
Well, it was, did we bond, Anna?
I think so.
It was a wonderful experience. It was very scary for me to go back, and I had to go through. It's very strong now. It's much stronger than it used to be.
You know, we're going to talk about that. You're talking about the THC content, which has been upped, of course, over the years. But, Anna, I want to ask you, is it time to legalize marijuana? After your mom has shared this story, you've obviously shared a joint with her. What do you think?
I think so. Why not? So many people are doing it. Let's stop. This is silly. And let's make it legal.
And what did you think of your mom, of you know, smoking this joint with your mom? For you, was it a positive thing?
I think so. It was great. You know, it sort of showed that she's willing to try and get involved in some of the things that I'm interested in, and we laughed a lot. So it was, you know, all around, I think, a great experience.
Yes, it was.
So Hannah,
I thank you both for calling. She had, you know, Anna mentioned the THC, or Beth mentioned the THC levels different from what she knew when she was smoking them in the 60s. And of course, the research shows that she was listening to, I think it was the Beatles, wasn't it, Beth? Yeah. Yellow Submarine, I think she said it was. The THC levels, what can you tell us about that, Gian, and the difference? You know?
Well, I think that this case proves that it's those derelict baby boomers that are the problem here. You know, we Gen Xers and younger are really trying to shape up this society, and the baby boomers just can't stop smoking dope.
Well, let me put that to Stephen Meredith here. Not that you're a baby boomer and you can't stop smoking dope, but tell me about the THC levels and what we're talking about when we use that term.
You certainly hear a lot about that these days. So the THC levels, marijuana today is stronger than it used to be, and that's true. It is definitely stronger. Different growing techniques, and people have managed to manipulate the seeds and make them stronger. It's not 100 times stronger, as some people suggest, and it's not necessarily problematic in the sense that users tend to self-regulate. So you smoke until you get high, and then you stop. So if you have a stronger drug, then you don't need to smoke as much.
So the health effects that you were talking about earlier would be lessened?
In fact, it could reduce some of the smoking-related harms if you don't need to smoke as much. However, some people will mix it with tobacco as a way of, you know, reducing
lightening
the strength.
Lightening the load, if you will.
Yes.
We've got Mike on the line. Yes, John, sorry.
I was just going to say, interestingly, this is the argument, as you heard in Play Goes to Pot, that the RCMP and law enforcement uses to say, hey, it's not the sweet drug that it was. You know, it's much more harmful now.
Okay, we're going to hear from Mike from Saskatchewan. He's on the line. Welcome to Play Goes to Pot, Mike. What do you think? Is it time to legalize marijuana?
Of course it is, Susanna. I recently saw a senator from North Dakota say he was equating Canadian marijuana with crack cocaine use. And I can't believe that we dictate our public policy by what some guy in North Dakota says. That's just totally wrong.
What would you like to see happen?
Decriminalizing, of course, to begin with, and then legalizing. I think it'd make our society completely, it'd turn the alcohol abuse problem possibly completely on its head.
And that's a whole other issue when we talk about alcohol versus cigarette smoking versus pot smoking.
Yeah, the harm to society that alcohol causes compared to marijuana is just incredibly, like, it costs our society so much more. And alcohol is legal, yet pot, you go to jail.
I thank you so much for calling into our program, and I hope you stay with us to watch as we continue this Play Goes to Pot special with your opinions. Gian, last hour we heard from political leaders on their experiences with pot. One of the people we didn't hear from was Gilles Duceppe. What happened there?
Well, we got to him a little late, or he got to us a little late, but we did get him this past week. So actually, I think we're going to run it right now and hear what he thinks the law should happen with the laws and whether he's ever smoked. Here's Gilles Duceppe.
Have you ever smoked pot and inhaled?
Oh, it happened in the 60s, yes. Then I started eating it by the Mr. Duceppe,
So he smoked it and then he ate it. One of the people who actually is on is joining us in our studios in Calgary ran against Duceppe in the 2000 election. This time around, he is running against Paul Martin, the leader of the Liberals. He is the leader of the marijuana party, Boris Saint-Maurice, and as head of the party, well, it's pretty clear what your position is. I know you're going to say yes, it is time that pot was made legal in Canada, but tell me why.
Well, it's just really bad for us to see how far out of touch politicians are. We saw some public opinion figures earlier in the show. 92% of Canadians approve of medical marijuana, yet there's still a huge problem in getting access to it. Show me, I dare you to find an issue out there that benefits from 92% of the population's support. Hey, this is like an election-winning issue right there. And then 47% approve of legalizing and some 60-some% of decriminalizing. Either half the politicians on Parliament Hill believe in legalizing it, or they're so far out of touch they don't deserve to be up there in the first place.
Well, are you advocating the use of pot?
Absolutely not. We advocate changing the law, and that does not mean using marijuana. In fact, when we change the law, we'll find usage rates are going to go down. As we do with tobacco and alcohol, we find that usage rates have been dropping steadily because we have labeling, and we should have labeling on legal marijuana with honest information about what the risks are and what the possible benefits are. And I don't even see why we don't label beer. There should be some sort of warning on that as well.
You know, Boris, Bill C-36 was on the table. It died on the order paper, of course, a few weeks ago when the election was called by Paul Martin. And as we await the election on Monday, and who knows which party is going to be, leading this country, how are you going to get this back on the agenda?
Well, we are going to continue to run candidates in all the elections as often as we can and get political leverage, get votes, and keep beating on the drums till whoever's up there, regardless of who forms the government, we will continue, and people will continue to smoke marijuana. Doesn't matter what the results of the elections are going to be on Monday. There will still be people rolling joints that evening, and certainly Stephen Harper's not going to be able to stop them. We're going to keep our eye on that, and we're already recruiting actually candidates for the next time around, because as it's going to be a minority government, there could be an election in 8, 12, 16 months. So we're calling on Canadians to join us and run in the elections and show politicians how serious we are about legalizing.
I'm not going to give you a commercial here, so bear with me. Joining us from Ottawa Boris, is Diane Watts. I'm sure she doesn't like what you're saying. She's with an organization called Real Women, which is opposed to the decriminalization and obviously opposed to the legalization of marijuana. Let me hear your thoughts on this, Diane.